what a win last night. Just, there's going to be another video coming up later today where I'm going to get clips in and I'm going to break it down. My first part of what I want to get out there is Joel Embiid playing the best basketball of his career. Better than last year, his MVP caliber season. Better than anything he's ever demonstrated. This is the complete package. Joel Embiid always had a multifaceted package, but when you're talking about, I'm going to go with an in-and-out crossover, then I'm going to go with a Euro step to a hook shot that goes in. I'm sorry. That's just unstoppable. You can't guard that. You can't guard that single coverage, definitely. You can't guard that with a double or even triples. But I think one of the main takeaways for me personally, it isn't just the savvy moves that he has, the counters that he has developed, the multiple coverages that he's seen over the years. Because that's definitely there. But for me personally, what I'm proud of the most when I watch Joel Embiid, I'm seeing Joel Embiid do a seal-in. You know, Tim Lager talked about it. If you seal in early in the post, you won't have to worry about double teams. You'll automatically get that single coverage every time. I think he's doing a great job sealing in. But even more than the seal-in, we are starting to see Joel roll a little bit to the rim. We're starting to see him embrace traditional big man responsibilities of, and responsibility is too loaded of a word. I would say, for me personally, Joel Embiid is one of the most dynamic offensive scorers we have ever seen. But at the same time, I've always thought that Joel Embiid worked harder for his buckets than any offensive player I've ever seen. You know, we see him isoing at the top of the key. We see him going against two guys, and it's like, if only we could get Embiid in the dunker spot. If only we could get Embiid a creator where he doesn't always have to do the one creating for himself. And you're really seeing that this season. You're really seeing, and obviously, you know, a lot of people have said if you could just get a all-star caliber point guard or a better playmaker there, you might even see this more. But with the floor spacing, you're starting to see Embiid swallow up that space. And I'm really, really proud of him for doing that, because I truly believe a part of it is, it's not fancy. To put up a little hook shot, have a little drop step shot and in, it's not going to go on SportsCenter Top 10. It's not going to be talked about the way that we talk about he had like 3 transition dunks, or was it 2 transition dunks and 1 transition layup. His Euro step is nasty as hell. And by the way, credit to Dan Burke, when you put shooters on the floor, 4 shooters on the floor, 5 out sometimes, the paint's empty, so he can Euro pass any individual defender. And because the shooters, you're basically like 24 feet away, so you're like, you can't really double. And if you do double, I feel like as much as Joel Embiid dominated scoring, Joel Embiid has said after the game that he was a little bit passive. And, you know, I don't want him looking at that like a bad thing, because I thought his passing game tonight was insane. Like, and it's been insane really almost from the jump this year. Like, literally from the first game, you saw Joel Embiid really focus on his playmaking, and I thought it all came into full fruition tonight. I thought you saw Joel Embiid manipulate the defense with his eyes, knowing that some people are going to overplay the dribble handoff, so I'm going to skip it over to the corner. Or if you're overplaying the dribble handoff, that means I'm on single coverage, so I can get to the rim. I thought he made a lot of cerebral decisions tonight. And I thought those cerebral decisions is what allowed him to get 10 assists. Quite frankly, it should have been more. I know he shot like 52%, but, you know, Tobias, seriously, dude, like, there's like 4 buckets right there. Joel Embiid could have literally had 15 assists tonight, rather than the 10 that he got. But I thought that he played the dribble handoff perfectly. Joel Embiid, the ball handler, I was going to make this post a little bit before this, but I'm definitely going to make it now. If you look at NBA.com and some stats, Joel Embiid stats of the ball handler and pick and roll, it's surprising. Like, I myself, we watched Joel Embiid throughout his career, but none of us would ever think, put Joel Embiid in that Jokic role. But he has developed and improved so much that it's time to start thinking about the offense that way. It's time to give Joel Embiid Jokic responsibilities of you could play pick and roll, you could play at the top of the key with Furkan Korkmaz, who had a terrific game, and honestly, we are seeing something of a sample size that kind of feels confusing as hell because he was put into the starting role in the playoffs, and obviously that did not go down. But I really do think that when Korkmaz plays a two-man game with Embiid, just like we're trying to do with Tyrese Maxey, I really think you see a real positive development. And also 11 rebounds. Furkan Korkmaz just with a tremendous amount of energy on the glass. And for a team that's been struggling at rebounding, I've said it from the jump. Does the Maxey Curry backcourt? I don't know. Even Doc himself didn't know because he tried to go with Shake Milton. That's not the answer. Look, I'm done with Shake Milton point guard. Stop it. It's over. Shake Milton, I compared negatively Jaden Springer to Shake Milton ball handling. So why would I ever imagine Shake Milton to be any more successful than Jaden Springer at ever being a point guard? They're not. Stop playing Shake Milton at the top of the key. Stop giving Shake. There was one possession. It was so fucking comical. I think you all know it. He's advancing the ball, and it is single coverage. Shake Milton is being guarded by one dude. And Shake Milton found a way to actually dribble himself into the corner, near out of bounds. And I'm just, really? Are you serious? And then to make matters worse, he ends up giving it to Tobias, and Tobias ends up losing the ball. And I'm like, oh my lord. He had to blow this up. The Shakes, the Tobys, I'm done. Forget money. It's about who's playing the best. Tobias and I'm paying up to that contract, not even close. So speaking of, Isaiah Joe got minutes, and Dan Burke, who I do want over Doc Rivers. I am totally off the Doc Rivers bandwagon. Team Dan Burke, you have to do it. It makes no sense to go back to Doc's personality and who Doc is as a coach. Doc Rivers is at this point of his career where if it's not handed to him, I just don't think Doc has the energy to be able to maximize his players or have the wide enough perception to get the most out of his players. Like by now, you've seen enough to know that Shake Milton is not your backup point guard. And that he's not a point guard. It's okay. Just be upfront with it. Shake Milton's not a point guard. You'll never hear that from Doc Rivers because Doc Rivers is insistent on it. But it's over. I have enough of a sample size. Shake's not my one in under any circumstance. Now, Tyrese Maxey, unfortunately, is out because of COVID protocols. There was this whole thing where there was a report that came out literally hours ago on Twitter through backlogs and everything. They recorded 1 million COVID tests. Seems like everyone and their mama either has COVID or already had COVID. So it's like these protocols, and it's not the fault of the league, but the protocols, what are they doing at this point? I consider I've ordered groceries, and even though that's like literally for 10 seconds or even 5 seconds, Amazon deliveries, come on, how many people have I had indirect 5-second exposure to? Me and everybody else. So, this is a nasty virus that's going around, but in all honest goodness, I really do feel like everyone has been infected or infected multiple times, including those who have not been tested. So what's the situation there? I don't know. I don't even want to get into that. But I'm just saying that the protocols at this point for the NBA, it doesn't make any sense. You got it, you got it. So come on. I'm not saying play if you're sick, but I am saying that it feels like there's a difference between having coronavirus in your system and being actively sick with coronavirus. And I feel like the CDC and the FDA and even the World Health Organization need to really make that distinction. Because if this is going to be a flu-like endemic, then yeah, it's going to be in the flora. It's literally going to be there. So you're going to have to make that decision. You're going to have to make that decision fairly quickly. That's the brief detour in the world. Let's get back into basketball now. Tobias Harris, I touched on it. Tobias Harris, I do not know what's wrong with this guy. I mean, I saw a guy with the Clippers who could take his man at least a little bit off the dribble. I saw a guy with much better shooting mechanics with the Clippers than his shooting mechanics are now. We all know Tobias Harris literally jumping on his tippy toes. This is supposed to shoot from your ankle to elevate shooting power, not from your tippy toes. More ankle, less tippy toes. That's something right there that will help out Tobias Harris a lot with his shot. But just in general, obviously, and we kind of noticed this, back on Twitch, with DJ Eastwood, and we learned that Tobias Harris blocked DJ Eastwood on Twitter, actually no, on Instagram, and it was funny as hell. But you can just tell that Tobias is in this Ben Simmons-like negative headspace. Remember the Tobias post of your path, unique to you, and Ben Simmons liked it? So now Tobias is in that same headspace, and for me, look, there's a fine line. Athletes shouldn't be threatened. You shouldn't, after all, they're human, and they're just doing a job. Do you want to be heckled and threatened, etc.? You're doing a job? No. So there's that. But you're also a public figure, like a politician is a public figure, or even like a doctor is a figure, And where criticism is warranted and is fair and is merited on the facts, I would say this both to Ben and Tobias. You gotta stop being a bitch about it, and you just gotta accept that for what it is. If I'm in the public sphere, let's say I go work for a mining company, and I make a mistake, and because of that, the mistake ends up being a coal incident where coal falls into the ocean or something or the other. You don't think I'm not going to get criticized for that? I'll be lucky if I keep my job for that, right? Because I fucked up and I caused a public catastrophe. Now basketball is nowhere close to that. But you're paid by the organization to perform basketball at the highest level that you can. And for whatever reason, for Tobias this year, and especially last month and a half or so, it's just not there. His first step is not there. Maybe that's related to Corona. Explosiveness, just the ability to finish at the rim. Like, you're missing bunnies at the rim now. And I think there is some sympathy to be there that's normally not Tobias. Tobias normally, he's not that 30-point guy. He's not at that level, which is why, that's the real reason Kevin Durant was chirping at him. These players who have these salaries are thinking, you? Come on now, you're not an odd tier. So that's what KD was going about that first game in Brooklyn. But we know that. But what he did provide was, again, that steady leadership. And maybe it wasn't really defense because he got torched today. So maybe it was the benefit of Ben can lock down these other guys and Tobias, he can put him on a so-so player, and that helps him out on the defensive end. But still, there was activity, and I think that's what it boils down to. If you're Tobias Harris and you're struggling, and, Joel Embiid said, let's try to run a play for him, I would approach it differently. I would look at Tobias and I'd be like, dude, crash the boards, fall on the loose ball, play like a role player. I would even put Tobias Harris, I don't know why the NBA doesn't do this, but in Major League Baseball, famously the example of Roy Halladay, you could put a veteran into the minor league system, and not only does that take any pressure away, you could miss a million shots with a Delaware Blue coach, and I don't know how many hardcore fans there are of the Blue Coats, but pales in comparison to the NBA regular season playoff standing, etc. So to me, I would even look at Tobias and I would say, how do you feel about going to Delaware, couple of games, 2 games, 3 games, when we're off? Obviously, you want them in the regular season rotation, but when we're off and there's a Blue Coat game or two, go down for assignment, and the assignment really is just to relax. That's the assignment. The assignment is to relax, and then on the other hand, you see these guys who are battling to get themselves noticed, and I feel like seeing their hunger will reinvigorate the hunger in Tobias, and I think that would go a long way to reviving Tobias Harris. I would honestly do it for any veteran who is struggling in my rotation if I were a coach. Like, if you have a couple of days off and you're really struggling, I'm like, go down to the Blue Coach, go down to the G League affiliate, work on your stuff there so you'll be able to come back here and contribute to our deep run. Not a demotion, it's just a get away. Get away from NBA basketball and more of a YMCA, more of a less pressure situation. And I feel like that's what Tobias needs right now, less pressure. He's putting pressure on himself, tripping with the fans. And it's not good, it's not healthy. It's not a healthy way to deal with this situation. That's why I say to both of them, grow up, swallow it, and then come back a better man, come back a better player. Rather than this whole, they're so mean. Like, criticism is mean. No one likes to be criticized. I don't like to be criticized. But sometimes what happens with criticism is you can take that criticism and you can elevate yourself, or you can take that criticism and you can kind of ignore it, which, if the criticism is all base, all is well. But if the criticism has merit and you ignore it, you're giving up the opportunity to develop yourself. So really, I would just say to Tobias, take this opportunity to really grow with it and grow yourself. Not just for the Sixers or not even for the fans. More importantly for yourself, to get yourself in that right headspace. Because we know what Tobias Harris was last year. And even though there is no Ben over there, but I still do believe Tobias can get back there. So I do agree with Dan Burke to a point. Tobias hasn't done anything lately for me to instill confidence, but going back to last year, I still think if we can get a confident Tobias Harris, I think the big thing that we need, if we don't have Ben, what do we need? We need someone I thought we got a lot of stuff in transition tonight. It just so happened that Tobias didn't really get too many of them, but Furkan's rebounding was huge. I would like, ironically enough, at the Joel Embiid dominated him, but a Montrezl Harrell would be greatly welcome. Just another fast, athletic player. Or obviously De'Aaron Fox. Just someone else to add in the tempo. We saw with this game tonight, actually, the negative. You give up 113 points to the Houston Rockets and you wonder how. Houston was very athletic. They were very up and go. And, Joel Embiid, credit Joel Embiid once again. He really thrived in that environment more than I ever thought. More than he ever would have 2-3 years ago. 2-3 years ago, Joel Embiid would have been huffing and puffing, and he would have been, But, and that's another reason why I get to be upset. This version of Joel Embiid, the best in his shape life of Joel Embiid, running down the court and literally Euro-stepping and dribble handoffing. This version of Joel Embiid who can run a fast break. This is the Joel Embiid that Ben Simmons always needed. A Joel Embiid who takes his big man with him on the break. And therefore, it's not a clog when Ben Simmons runs up and down. I think the relationship could have been super this year if Ben just put his head down. And it's not too late. Just come back. $10 million. Come back, even for 4 or 5 games. Just come back. And you know what? Alright, fine. You're not going to shoot, but I feel like it would add to the transition, add to the rebounding. And, I feel like if Joel runs the floor the way he ran the floor tonight, could be something there. I don't know, but shit. I just thought that Joel Embiid really, really ran the floor hard. But as far as the right now, as far as your rotation, I would cut Tobias Harris minutes and Matisse Fiberman. Oh my God. Can you imagine scoring 133 points? And Danny Green was really. He had a couple of shots, 6 points, 2 for 3, 22 minutes. But it's like, right? And credit to Isaiah Joe. Isaiah Joe got shots. Now, the credit, he hit that first one, which really is crucial these days, especially under Doc. If he goes 0 for 1, 0 for 2, he's out, right? And it's just, he didn't get the shots. Because of Joel Embiid being passive, which, again, I would like Dan Burke to tell him, like, I'm for that. You give us 31 points and 10 assists, really, and not to be 10 assists, it could be 5 assists, 4 assists, your season's average. The active passing you've been this year has helped this basketball team, and I feel like it really, really helps a guy like Isaiah Joe to be able to get a number of shots. Same thing with Korkmaz, getting a number of shots because you're passing the basketball, because the ball is moving, and you're moving with it. And he mentioned that post-game, so I would just like for him to know that what he did tonight as a passer has been really, really huge. And I thought it was huge for Isaiah Joe to be able to get those shots. And you get those shots by getting touches and minutes. You can't evaluate a prospect on 0 for 4, 0 for 2. You can't evaluate a prospect like that. That's not possible. It's not possible. So when everyone, when it was this, oh, but Isaiah Joe was sucking. He got 2 shots in a game. You can't say this. What you can say is that they're not getting the guy the ball. And one of the reasons for that, Shake Milton is in my doghouse, and so is Matisse Fireball. And even Dan Green to an extent. You can't play the game the way they play the game. It's too one-dimensional. Matisse Fireball may be a defender, but you're not getting anything offensively. Danny Green, cardio, again, 6 points or 2 for 3, yay, but you're only able to get 3 shots, as opposed to Isaiah Joe literally getting like 12. Because Isaiah Joe was moving off the ball, moving off screens, and doing those kind of things. To me, basketball is 2 things, activity and skill. And I feel like Tyrese Maxey obviously should be a mainstay of this rotation. Isaiah Joe should be a mainstay of this rotation. And Furkan Korkmaz should be a mainstay in this rotation. Tobias, Milton, Bible, it's got to be a game-by-game situation. Because you're not playing well enough to keep Maxey out of a rotation or Joe out of a rotation. Or Korkmaz out of a rotation. It is what it is. Those are the guys I'm going to go with. I know it's Houston, and I know that Houston is a lottery team. You're going to come up with another one in Orlando on the road. So I know the competition wasn't the best. But I also know that even against dumpfire teams that haven't been able to score the ball, you only score 96 against an Atlanta team that didn't have anything. Right? So it's like, I'm looking at Joe, I'm looking at Korkmaz, I'm looking at Tyrese Maxey. I'm looking at those 3 guys, Tyrese, Korkmaz, and Isaiah Joe, and I'm like, I want to get you guys a lot of minutes. I want to have you be the bench crew. Because Bible and Green, they had ample opportunity, they had numerous opportunity, and they're not in my rotation. It's done. I gave you more than 1/3 of the season. You have not played well. It is what it is. Some games you might come in, like if Danny's hot, put him in. If Korkmaz is cold, take Korkmaz out for Danny or Shake or whatever the case may be. Your rotations have to be more fluid, and that's where Dan Burke is an immediate upgrade over Doc. Because Dan Burke is able to see Isaiah Joe be a bomber out there, and he's like, okay, I'm going to keep you in. He sees Tobias Harris struggling, like, okay, I'm going to limit your minutes a little bit. And I feel like Dan Burke is better for that as opposed to Doc, who's like, Shake Milton's my guy, so we're going to stick with Shake Milton. Even if Shake Milton has shown no point guard ability at all. Or, we are believing in Tobias Harris, so we are going to isolate Tobias Harris in the post. Oh my God, can we just cut that out of paper? Like, it's ridiculous. Where you had a Tobias Harris post-up in the third quarter that was going absolutely fucking nowhere, and then he kicked it out to Embiid for free. Great job on Embiid hitting the shot, but that is... How is he not posting up these guards, and how is he not putting up... Everyone put up numbers, but Tobias Harris, I don't even know anymore. But that's the thing with Dan Burke. Dan Burke is willing to make adjustments to his rotation and to his lineups. You know, like, obviously, and there's a little bit more movement, but you're seeing more dribble handoffs. But generally, the execution is the same. The way of attack, high pick and roll, get our guards downhill. A lot of the same stuff is happening there. But I think that the difference really is, between the two of them, Dan Burke is more flexible with his rotations. Doc's guys are Doc's guys. Doc Rivers and Brett Brown, closer than we ever would have thought possible, in terms of being rigid with the substitutions and rigid with your way of thinking without thinking outside the box. They both believe in the dunker spot. They both don't believe in 4 out, 1 in, even though 4 out, 1 in is the modern NBA. The Atlanta Magic got 3 NBA Finals with Dwight Howard, 4 out, 1 in. The game's changed. 4 out, 1 in. San Antonio Spurs won with 4 out, 1 in 2014. In today's game, you need to overload on shooters. Not big men, shooters. So credit to Dan Burke. He's my head coach moving forward. If Doc Rivers needs to be given some executive bonus or part of the Sixers ownership group, do that. Do whatever you had to get Doc Rivers off the bench and just hand the permanent job over to Dan Burke. I'm a believer in Dan Burke. I'm on the Dan Burke train. Dan Burke has to be the Sixers head coach moving forward for us to reach our potential. Sixers of the universe. Peace.